What's good, everybody? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of the Celebrity Junk. I want to talk about Michelle Obama in her, podcast, okay, in my opinion. And it's important because just like the sports podcast that we see now of the older players that are now talking about what happened in the back end, we are now seeing the White House from a bird's eye view through her lens. We're seeing a woman from the South Side of Chicago who I believe she went to, if it's either Brown or Princeton or Yale, one of the schools, and, marrying Barack Obama, becoming the first lady. And I'll be honest, from what I've seen for some of our podcasts, it's been very enlightening, okay? Because this is something that most blacks will never experience. But she has come out and talked about certain things I want to deal with.
All too aware that as a first black couple, we couldn't afford any missteps.
Yeah.
And you also say, as a black woman, I was under a particularly white hot glare. Did you feel that?
For sure. You can't afford to get anything wrong because you didn't get at least until the country came to know us, we didn't get the grace that I think some other families have gotten.
Now that's important. I'm gonna deal with that, but I also want to deal with this whole idea of affirmative action.
I wasn't good on SATs, so all the scores said you don't belong at Princeton. And there were people who saw me, saw the color of my skin and said, you're aiming too high. And that was my first insecurity of thinking, well, maybe I don't belong here.
So how did you overcome that belief that you don't belong?
I got there and I looked around and went, oh my God, a lot of bright people, but there were a lot of people that were just, and sort of realized that affirmative action isn't just the...
So in both cases, Michelle Obama talks about, let's deal with the first thing, the White House. She and Barack Obama, her being African-American and then Barack Obama being largely a Kenyan-American. She felt like she was treated differently. She had less room for error as blacks in the White House, and she felt a disparity. I want to deal with this because I would never ignore the level of racism that blacks go through, whether it's covert or overt. But I do want to understand something. You got the job. Let me just say this. When you look at black Super Bowl winning quarterbacks, Russell Wilson, Doug Williams, they can say all day, they didn't want me to play quarterback. And they hated on me playing quarterback. But the question is, did you play quarterback? Yes. So you played quarterback and you won? Yes. Okay. How many times did you win? A lot. Because the Barack Obama won the presidency not once, but twice. And he won many times in white states like Iowa, okay? Which has no blacks. So for me, when I hear that, I just don't know how to take it. And this is what Democrats typically do. Woe is me. We are black. We are not being treated fairly. Newsflash. For everybody listening that's black, you will never be treated fairly as long as you're black. If you want to be treated fairly, go somewhere and skin bleach everything on your body and get a nose job. Dye your hair blonde and see if it works, okay? But as long as you're in the black skin, you will not be treated like anybody else because you're not like anybody else. But the fact that you won the seat, not once, but twice, and you stayed in the White House for 8 years, who gives a damn about the fact that you were being treated fairly? I hate to say it like that, but who cares? You won twice. That was fair enough for you. Everybody that ain't gotta like you, who gives a damn about the previous regimes? Who cares? You made it. And the American public was fair enough for that you can make it. And then again, it's gonna draw to my next point. Why are we so quick to want these other people's acceptance? You won, okay? Now, this is a theme for Michelle Obama. I'm gonna come back to that, don't worry. This is a theme here. We talk about the affirmative action. I don't feel like I belong. Well, in the case of you having a good SAT score, you don't belong, right? You don't. You were not smart enough to get in there, so your ass don't belong. You got in through affirmative action. So again, look at the commentary that she's using. Oh, I felt, treated unfairly, and then I didn't know if I would belong. So you're looking for this wider acceptance from whites. And this is the problem with blacks. Always looking to be accepted into somebody else's system that was not designed for you, okay? Black people have to get out of this bullshit, which is, oh, we're the president, and oh, we're not accepted like the rest of them. And oh, vote Democrat because Republicans are racist. But be accepted by the people that will never accept you, because a lot of the racism that she's probably talking about came from white Democrats. But then you never hear Democrats talking about this.
We don't have our own infrastructure. You can say HBCUs, but we really don't even got our own schools, because at the end of the day, they own them. They own the property. They own all of that. All of that. And some of our people really think we better off living off of them instead of living off of ourselves. And that's really sad, and that's how you know that the shit that they done to us, that shit worked. That shit worked, bro. It seemed like we don't even give a about having our own shit. We'll defend this shit before we'll defend ourselves and our people. We have gotten to a point where we don't even give a about each other no more. And it's really sad.
Why are Democrats, and I talked about this, never discussing how much you can own yourself? Self-actualization, self-ownership. Because the people who don't like you do not like you. Who gives a people just don't like blacks for whatever reason. There is nothing you can do about it. I used to try to change that when I was living in Sacramento. Remember one time I was working at this company, and guy told me one day, he said, you know, O'Shea, you're not like the other blacks. I said, huh? He said, yeah, you're not like them. You know, you come to work on time, you know. The other guys, you know, they're smoking weed on the breaks, and that was happening. I mean, it was dusty. And so at the time I was young, I didn't know, I was not into the knowledge that what he was giving was a backhanded compliment, because while there may have been blacks who were messing up, we had blacks who were also on point. And his level of acceptance, me wanting to accept that from him, made me feel good at the time. But if I could do that now, I would have checked his ass, okay? Because I wasn't the only black person there that came on time. A lot of blacks came on time and did their job right. But the reality is that we should be investing in our own self, our own political parties, our own things. Democrats nor Republicans will save blacks. They will never, and they will never treat you fair. And a lot of the black Democrats out there, like Michelle Obama, Barack Obama, none of that is black ownership. All of that is being tied to somebody else's ticket. The same thing with Candace Owens and Brandon Tatum and Turning Point USA. You know, they'll tell you to leave the Democratic plantation, and then they're being paid by somebody else. At what point do blacks go back to the A.G. Gaston method and self-fund their own liberation and be beholden to the rules that they want to have? And the opportunity is out there. It's out there in Africa. It's out there in Black America. The black world has such a great opportunity to fund everything themselves. And we have all the money. We have all of the opportunity. We have all of the leadership to do it. We have everything we need. We never have to, if we don't want to, go and say, you know, these white people make me feel uncomfortable. We should change that into, I made my brother, who's a black person, feel comfortable. Feel comfortable to do what? To trust me, to do business with me. When I say I'm going to pay, I pay on time. I value his trust. I value her trust in relationships with friends or family members or whoever else. I value them. See, now that's the black discussion that we should be having instead of what a white person treated you unfairly. Largely, some whites feel that it is their job to treat you unfairly. Some Asians, some other people may feel, and even some blacks, it's their job to treat you unfairly. But where is the conversation that you have about how you're going to treat somebody else fairly? That is the conversation, largely that you should have, and largely you should be dealing with. Ultimately, that is the only thing that is important. How fairly can you be treated, and how can you impress people in your community? And build up your own institutions in your communities. You have the HBCUs you can work with. You have black business you can work with. So you don't have to go around like Michelle Obama seeking approval from people who don't like you, even when you're the highest rated person in the land, the first lady, and you're renting that stuff because you don't own it. Why not develop what you can own? Because Democrats can't tell you that. Democrats can't tell you what you can own, because if you can own something, you don't need them. Republicans are the same way. For the most part, Republicans do talk about ownership, but not necessarily black ownership. Republicans' message to black people is get off the Democratic plantation. and then join the Republican plantation, where you also have no ownership. The Jews have figured it out. The Jews own what they do, and they're on the left and the right. And so whatever happens for the Jews, whoever the president will be, you will be beholden to their interests if they need you to be, because they have invested into that. They own what they do. And if you don't own what you do, you will be owned by somebody who owns what they do. Until blacks understand that and start to understand the power of collaboration, always going to have this problem. Fundamentally, you're going to be down bad, you're going to be dusty. And then again, it's going to be all your fault. It's going to be all your fault, and then you're going to continue, as well as me, to be the laughing stock of the Western Hemisphere, because people will look at you as you can't get it together. And Michelle Obama, with that self-defeated mentality, is one of the reasons. So guys, what do you think? It's your boy O'Shea Duke Jackson back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Junk. I appreciate you for all that you do. Subscribe to the bell. We're out.